that Schumer serves at the discretion of the people, of the public. And he was milquetoast, even though as a leader of the Senate Democrats, he was milquetoast in rallying the kind of support you called for.
Listen, I'm going to tell you stuff that's never been recorded before. I'm a political animal from way back. I go back before the Koch administration. I'm going to put some stuff on the record for you and let Chuck Schumer deny it. Things that have never been said before. He's no angel. He's a faker. He's not sincere. He's just not sincere. All of a sudden, he speaks at AIPAC and says that it's anti-Semitism in the Palestinian administration that doesn't allow a peace because they cannot recognize the existence of a Jewish state. Well, that's very nice. You know, he's coming across vanilla. Let me tell you about Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is lucky that his career wasn't upended because of the scandals that he had during his New York Assembly race years ago when he first started. Chuck Schumer is a guy, when he represented a district which included my congressional district when I resided in Forest Hills, which went through the Rockaways. The Met Council on Jewish Poverty wanted to build a residence for senior citizens in the Rockaways. But because the Met Council residents would have not only Jewish senior citizens, but people of all types, there was some anti-Semitism. And Schumer went along with the opposition. In other words, he was feeding upon the anti-Semitic opposition to that residence in the Rockaways, and he opposed it. No one's ever told you that. And how about years ago when I was in the Koch administration, and Schumer called the Department of Transportation Parking Violations Bureau. His father, who ran an extermination business, had many parking tickets, and he wanted them dismissed. And the administration, I remember very well, reduced those tickets substantially. And that chazer called up, I'll leave that person out of the story, called up the person and asked, "Can't you do better than that?" This is no great angel. This is a guy who says, in the most important part of his life, this is a matter of conscience. I oppose the JCPOA, but I agree it's a matter of conscience. Really? You never spoke out on matters of conscience? So you negated our vote? You made New York a zero by letting Kirsten vote for the agreement? You cynically voted against, and then you remain quiet? You're a representative for us? You're a faker. You're not sincere. You're not for real.
So what do you think when you see Senator Schumer stand supported by AIPAC before an audience of 15 to 18,000 people who cheer him as a showmare for the Jewish state?
Listen, Jewish audiences are so smart. How many mistakes have they made through the ages? And you know, we read in Isaiah, your enemies shall emerge from within you. Our biggest problematic individuals historically come from within us. They come from within us. They're not there when we need them. So look, I have nothing personal with Chuck Schumer. But I look at this, and I look how this guy plays the public. He comes with a joke about his mother and his father, and he tells the jokes about his parents in North Shore Towers, and he gets some Yiddish jokes. Borscht Belt and his father is taking a course on Jewish comedy, and he tries to lull the audience into his being some kind of Hamish figure while he screws us by talking about his conscience as if he never lobbies anybody else on any other issue. But when he had to lobby for the safety of the Jewish people
and the world, and the United States, from Iran,
he left it to Obama, he left it to Gillibrand, he left it to everybody, he left it to nobody.
Do you feel vindicated now? That
I didn't have to be vindicated.
In retrospect?
I knew I was right then. I knew the people who were out there, the 20,000 people who were out there with us in Times Square, the other many thousands across the country who mimicked us in various large urban centers and did the same thing. We didn't have to be vindicated. Sometimes you see things that are obvious. Vindication is when you have a hunch. You did a little research, but you couldn't have been 100% sure. But in the end, the truth comes out. That means vindication. Something that's as obvious as a pickled beet on a white dinner jacket does not require vindication.
In retrospect, what have we learned now about President Obama's legacy regarding radical Islam?
What we
Israel,
learned is that even Chuck Schumer, the Schumer, and his Jewish colleagues on the other side. Now, I'm intellectually honest. I'll be the first to tell you. It was dead wrong for the president to say in Charlottesville, there are bad people on both sides. There may be, but that wasn't the time or place to say it, because the instigators at that moment were right-wing neo-Nazi hoodlums. But, the fact of the matter is, let's be honest, ADL wants to make hay with a bunch of neo-Nazis. The threat to my well-being is not a few neo-Nazis running around in Idaho and another 3 dozen running around with David Duke in Louisiana. The threat to me and the threat to our children and the threat to the future elites is the intellectual lack of diversity, the corruption, the intellectual corruption on our college campuses, where our kids are tortured by SJP, which is not a freedom of speech issue. These people harass, they engage in violence. The left is the threat. Now, you didn't see Donald Trump standing with neo-Nazis. He grossly misspoke, but he wasn't standing with them. But what about the Democrats from whom we hid? We saw the videotapes hidden of those Congress members and indeed Barack Obama meeting with Louis Farrakhan. Where's Chuck Schumer? Where's the Schumer on Farrakhan? On the other left-wing anti-Semites. And our Jewish sisters, God bless them, who again, their hatred for Trump is more than their support for Israel, so they'll march with these women, Sarsour and the rest of them, even though they defend Farrakhan. There's something wrong with these people. Again, anti-Semitism has to be fought on all sides. But you know, I heard something interesting and very valid recently from Sharansky. Sharansky said, it's no great chachma when the left attacks the anti-Semites on the right and the people on the right attack the anti-Semites on the left. The right should attack the right, the left should attack the left. That would be logical, and I would agree with that. The problem is that the left will have a much bigger job.
Are you seeing now more people coming across to your point of view? Are you hearing it? Are you reading it?
Yeah, definitely as things wash out, as things wash out recently, the pictures of Farrakhan with these various elected Democrats, including Obama, the expansion of Iran, the lassitude of Obama as it related to the whole situation in the Middle East, and the disorder generally that we see took place under his aegis, his laxity with Venezuela, with Cuba. I mean, there's so much now to deal with in the world. The laxity of multiple presidents before Trump regarding North Korea. So much of this has led to total chaos. The efforts to try to put the world back together is going to be very difficult to accomplish. But many, many people, I think, see that they were led down a primrose path by the most recent administration, and now this has to be cleaned up, with the worst of all of it having been that which threatens our people, and indeed the world, and that's, of course, the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Well, then you must feel that your job is done. No,
there's no job is done. I mean, we're in serious trouble now. We're in very serious trouble. There will be, this will all come to a head at some point very soon. As you see, the Iranians are testing the Israelis. The Israelis must respond. They cannot give even the impression that crossing certain red lines will not meet with a very, very virulent response. And so you have the very high risk of a war being triggered at any moment, and it will be quite a terrible situation with about 200,000 missiles, which would be fired endlessly. The nation called Lebanon would cease to exist. There would doubtless be heavy casualties on the Israeli side, and it could result in a very serious regional conflict. So we hope that that doesn't happen, but again, we've been brought to this precipice 100% by the trust in the Islamist by the previous administration.